Om Shanti all. After a short break, we are now back with another series of interviews, the sort of season 2. Thanks for all your love, feedback, and support from our initial set of interviews, based on which, as a part of season 2, besides health related discussions or interviews, we are also going to be focusing on spirituality related topics. And we've lined up a series of spiritual topics ranging from faith, patience, perseverance, surrenderance, Kundalini Yoga, et al. Across all these topics, we are going to be speaking with KMGNs and understanding their perspective on these areas coming from practical experience. The great Shirdi Sai Baba has said that the two fundamental pillars in a seeker's spiritual journey are patience and faith. So, to open up season 2, we are going to be speaking on the topic of faith and surrenderance, where we will understand what is faith, where does surrenderance come into the picture, how is faith to be nurtured, and so on. And for this discussion and interview, we are going to be speaking with Mr. Ganesh Mani from KMG. He is one of our senior KMGN seekers, and we thought it would be really interesting to know about this topic from him. So let's now dive into the interview. Thanks once again for all your love and support. Om Shanti.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्तिः। Humble pranams Advait ji, humble pranams to Guruji, and humble pranams to the entire KMD family.
That was awesome, Ganeshi. I can't describe what I'm feeling right now. I'm experiencing a lot of goosebumps, something which has never happened. I'm feeling so much of gratitude. Uh, this is a very unique experience. Never so far on this platform has this experience been gifted. So gratitude and so thankful to Guruji, so thankful uh, that we are having you on this platform today to share your perspective and talk about um, a very interesting topic. So thank you, Ganeshji. Thank you, Om Shanti. Um, let's begin with if you could tell our viewers a bit about yourself, how you came to spirituality, uh, how you came into KMG,
Right.
and any key experiences that you've acquired through the process.
So first and foremost, Advait ji, humble gratitude to you. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful initiative that that has been undertaken by you, and it's a very difficult task from your busy schedule. You are taking time out, to have this program, which enables, I think, each and every KMG member to understand, the perspectives of other KMG members, their experiences, and it's an opportunity for us to, learn from each and everyone. Because every experience and every individual's perspective and perception of Guruji is so different, because there are so many, range of personalities, so many dimensions that he has got. And when we experience that from different people, we realize, what what is the Guru all about, and or rather we are trying to understand that. So first and foremost, many thanks for that. And I'm sure, whatever we discuss during the course of this session, it is guided by Guruji's grace alone. Whatever thoughts, whatever emotions come to us, it's a humble request to Guruji, may you guide us through this, few minutes that we have together. With respect to, my contact with Guruji, first and foremost, we have to thank, Usha Duveri Amma. She has been our spiritual guide, from the very beginning for both, me and my mother. And, without her guidance, and without her mercy and the benevolence of the entire Duveri family, we would not be here, and possibly even having this discussion. So, humble gratitude to her. So, we met Guruji when Usha Amma told us, there is this person here, and, he does a lot of healing, and, you should go and meet him once. So, I remember, the first time, when I had my first interaction with Guruji, it was on the phone. So my mother said, just speak to this person. And he's, Janardhan Guruji, very great person. And, I had an inclination in spirituality right from beginning. So I said, okay, definitely somebody is such a great person is wanting to speak to me. So I was very excited. And, when I picked up the phone and, the first thing Guruji asked me, what is the date? I was flabbergasted by this question. Normally the first, question that generally somebody asks is, what is your name? How are you? I was, he's asking what is the date. I had no clue what is the date. So I was quite stunned. Then he said, okay, don't worry. We will see each other after some time and, enjoy. So I said, okay. I was quite, the entire thing I was quite, was not the way possibly, which I kind of anticipated. So no problem. So then in I think the next month, we went, me and my mom, we, visited Guruji. And, I thought, generally, all the spiritual masters, they are so serious and, they have, a sense of aura about them. And, there were, a lot of patients over there. And, I was sitting with my mom in the living room over there. Then suddenly, this guy comes, with so much energy bustling into the room. And then he says, oh, then, the first thing is, oh, you have come. Oh, how nice to see you. And, he comes and just hugs me. And, suddenly, you're just blown away. Like you just don't understand what has just hit you. And you are completely stunned. I still remember that moment so distinctly. It's, it's like it just happened yesterday. And, that experience of, I have got something, or something which is beyond the beyond something which the five senses can absorb. Suddenly something has hit you. And I remember that entire day I just was just going through the motions, and I really could not understand what is happening. And honestly, after that I don't remember anything much which happened after that, what I spoke to him, what he told me. I really don't recollect anything. But then I told Guruji just before doing, Guruji, is it, can I come, and meet you, regularly? He said, by all means. He said, this is your house. You can come whenever you wish. And again, I was kind of, taken aback, like, who says that? I mean, you come, especially spiritual masters, they have their own, busy schedule, and, it's something which I could never comprehend. So then I was seeing there are so many patients. I thought, some small way I can, help out Guruji. So I, used to come every Saturday. I used to, land up in Guruji's house. And, at that point of time, there was a time when, there were like patients choco-block from 8 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock. And, there never used to be a place to sit over there. So that's how I came in contact, and I have been hanging around since then. So yeah.
So this was in what year?
So this was in 2009. So it's almost been like 12 years now. With where I had the privilege to be with Guruji, and possibly he has kept me along along, rather than my possibly dedication or my sincerity to Guruji. He has kept me in his fold, to be honest.
So since almost 12 years now, any key experiences that you would want to share in this journey of 12 years?
Uh, to be honest, Advaitji, it's very difficult to put down in one or two experiences, because to in a way I would say the person that I was before I met him, and the person what I am is possibly somebody who has seen me 12 years back, possibly somebody who has interacted with me 12 years back, he'll not be able to recognize me right now. So the Guruji has really transformed the way what we think about ourselves, and what is the purpose of life. Initially I always used to think the purpose of life, it's to be honest, even though I was doing some spiritual practice, but I never understood what are we here for. I think Guruji has made me at least understand what is the purpose of here. Why are we here? We are not here to enjoy some of the material benefits which this world has to offer. We are here for a greater purpose, as in what is the ultimate objective of spirituality is to raise your level of consciousness, where you are one with that supreme, or at least you are in a position where you can slip in and slip out any point of time. So I think that most important learning has been given by Guruji. And second thing, the most important learning, what Guruji always says, please show compassion to everybody. You show so much of devotion to me, but what about others? Are you treating them like you are treating me? Why not? There is the Guru and God in everybody. So please treat everyone with the same kind of compassion, with which you treat a Guru. And obviously there are circumstances which are different, and we need to tackle those things appropriately. But even when we are teaching some kind of lesson to somebody, it is for their own good. It's not that you are trying to remove your emotion on somebody else. So all your benefit should be to the benefit of the society. At the end of the day, we are some small particles over here, going to be there for some time. So our presence should always be like a flower, where we spread our fragrance and not try to extract anything from anybody.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think you uh, every line that you just said, Ganeshji, is going straight away into my heart. It's so beautiful. Thank you. I think these are important experiences, maybe not beyond experience, right? Something you've internalized along the way. That is uh, great. I do have one curious question, Ganeshji. Uh, See, we've seen you at the forefront of whenever there are these KMG retreats. We've seen you at the forefront of planning them out to the word T, uh, making multiple visits to the venue. You are in charge of everything, be it the logistics, the seating arrangement, the lighting, uh, everything. You work out all detail. You make sure the right people are contacted. However, once the event starts and everyone is wondering how this is so beautifully set up, who's behind it, you are then in the background.
Guruji, Advaitji, to be very honest,
How
sorry Advaitji, I just lost you.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead. I think you got the import of my
Yeah, no,
question.
so to be honest, Advaitji, to be very, very brutally honest, I really don't have competency to do any of these things. All of, all of these things are basically, done by, Guruji's energy. It's his grace. Does, to be very honest, he takes care of each and every minute thing to ensure that, every member who comes there, it feels like home, and not a single person is troubled. So the entire planning, right from the start, where we have to go, what we have to do, how to take care of things, what is the planning, each and every detail is actually taken care by Guruji. And it's just his energy, and I am just a mere instrument. Today it is me, tomorrow it will be somebody else, it doesn't matter. Ultimately he wants something to be done, he will get it done. It is just a privilege and an opportunity for me, just to be there for some time, so that possibly I earn some punya to be very honest. So frankly speaking, my contribution in all of this is, to be very honest, it's actually zero. It's him who's doing all these things.
I think you are really very humble, Ganeshji. To me, you are the role model of Seva. How to do Seva without any
No,
expectations.
Advaiji,
And
it's
there's a lot to learn from how
no.
you do
To
it.
be honest, Advaiji, I have not learned this from my own. I have seen so many people, before me, who have been, doing so many things, and it's not just me who does this. There are so many other people who are, who are offering selfless service. So, I have learned this by being with Guruji. I've seen so many people, there have been so many people before me, who have been there. I remember people who have published this book, which has been in publication for such a long time. Then I remember Vidyasagar ji. He was one of the foremost disciples of Guruji. And I remember how initially the Guru Purnima, when there were very few people, he used to organize everything for the Guru Purnima function, which used to take place in his house. Sushila auntie, she has been, I think, selflessly dedicating her life, to Guruji. I remember Usha Dubri auntie, in Hyderabad, earlier, that was the center actually in Hyderabad. And, she has, given her life to Guruji. So there are, it's, what I'm doing is, is not, is, whatever small, I'm doing is really, it's a iota of, what people have done selflessly. And, most importantly, Guruji's family, they have sacrificed so much, so that we are happy, and they have sacrificed their family life. So in comparison to all these sacrifices, what is it that we are doing? We are doing nothing.
So nice. And now we turn towards maybe the key focus of this interview. Ganeshji, again a curious question. There were 8 topics that were basically given as options, and you chose faith and surrender. Any particular reason why you chose this specific topic?
To be honest, Advaitji, I'm not, qualified to speak on any of those topics. And even this, I'm just trying to, do my best, to the extent I can. So I felt this is honestly the, easiest thing, and, possibly to, for a, for a devotee or for a disciple, to offer. So, I have kind of, picked up the easiest topic, if I may say.
How do you define faith? What's your perspective about faith and surrender?
Yeah, so Advaitji, in my view, whatever little I've learned from Guruji, faith is something, which we all, to an extent we have faith, because somewhere, we feel we are not able to solve our own problem. So then, we go somewhere else in the anticipation that, okay, this thing will help us, that thing will help us. A student goes to a teacher, for learning something in the faith that, the, teacher can teach him that. Then a patient goes to a doctor, in the hope that, in the faith that the, doctor will kind of, cure him. And then we look for certain relationships, and then, we feel this person, is a good companion for me, and, I have faith in that person. And often sometimes, then we realize, along the way that, sometimes our faith is misplaced, or, somewhere, it's not, it's not going the way. So till, we have a resolution to our problem, we have faith in something. But, when we are talking of surrender, it's not that somebody has to do something for us. When we are talking of surrender, it's, what we are offering. So originally this term surrender, it was used in all these wars and battles, where you're placing your life in the hands of the the hands of the enemy and say, I don't want to fight now, you do what you want and I'm placing my life with you. So in spirituality also, when we are talking of surrender, we are placing our life in the hands of a guru or a master, because there is something that we are not able to reach, and the guru is taking the responsibility for us. So he understands and he says, whatever is your past karma, whatever is the future that you will do, I am responsible for it. So that is the role which the guru plays, wherein he is taking full responsibility for your life. So if he is taking full responsibility for you, it's the least that we can do, that we surrender our life to him, saying, Guruji, whatever you tell us, whatever you teach us, I will do my best. I will not question you. The reason being, we have very limited time and we are trying to fly a spaceship. We are trying to evolve from us, from if I might say, from stone age to a very highly civilized age in a very short span of time. There is not enough time for him to explain each and every small thing, why this has to be done, why that has to be done. Otherwise, the entire lifetime will go in just explanation. So then you have to blindly follow what he says. So that is why the first step in the spirituality, they say, is you have to certain extent of surrenderance. You need to empty whatever you have in your mind. You need to unshackle what your beliefs, because whatever you have learned or whatever you have done is based on limited information that is available with you. The guru knows much more. He knows your past. He knows what is your future. He knows what problems you had, what problems you are going to have. So whatever he will tell you is the best course for you. And there you are running at such a high speed, there is no time to think. When he says left, you have to turn left. When he says right, you have to turn right. Otherwise, you will go off course. So that is why they say in spirituality, you need to have surrenderance, wherein you offer yourself to Guruji and let him take charge of your life.
Sure. So, Ganeshji, the question is, are faith and surrender, according to you, inseparable from one another? Or, in other words, can an individual just have faith without surrendering? Or can an individual just surrender without faith?
To
What is your viewpoint about this? Because to me, I think they are probably inseparable, but I would like to understand from you as well how you think about it.
See, Advaitji, in my view, once a guru has taken you as a disciple, whether you surrender to him or whether you have faith in him, he has made a commitment to you. I will take you to that supreme reality. So whether you initially have faith or you don't have faith, whether you surrender or you don't surrender, it doesn't matter to him. He will do his job. Like a child, whether you are naughty, whether you are rebellious, or whether you are a good child, the mother is always there to take care of the child. The child might leave the house and go, but the mother is always concerned and bothered about him. And she will ensure, even though she might not be in contact with him, she makes the necessary provisions for him so that he can live a comfortable life. So it is up to us how we want to live with our Guruji. Whether we want to be a good child, walk hand in hand with our Guruji, and make his life easier so that he has more time to possibly spend time on his other children, or do we want to be selfish and have limited faith in him, or limited do not want to follow his instructions, or and make his life slightly bit more tougher. So the choice is on a disciple, what path that he wants to choose. But whatever it is, the guru will do his job once he has initiated you.
Wow, that's amazing. So what we are seeing is Guruji is going to take us, in a way, all the instructions, if we don't follow, he's going to make sure one way or the other we have to
One
follow
way
so that we reach the destination he has basically intended or for us.
Absolutely, he will make us do it one way or the other. But so until we all reach there, his job is not over. So it is our duty, to make his job easy.
So that makes me think, for someone who is new in this area or newly starting in the spiritual area, faith, I think you mentioned it, it probably is not there initially. It takes some time. But then, is there a process, or is there a way to acquire the faith? Because it seems it's an important element of a spiritual seeker's journey. So, is there a way that faith can be acquired?
Yes, Advaitji, I think faith is not something, it comes instantaneously. It does take some time. Like for most of us, when we came into contact with Guruji, we had first the faith in the person who referred to us to Guruji, that this person, will guide us properly. Then, when something like this is there, is something like healing which is there, which is possibly outside the purview of today's medical sciences, we still had a faith somewhere. There is something beyond this. So, let us go there, let us try and see what it is. Then when you meet a person like Guruji and he says, give all your troubles to me, then you will say, then the initial, okay, why not, let's try. What is the harm in trying? So that is how faith gradually develops. It, for a person who's new, nothing happens instantaneously. It takes time, because when, as a child, to be very honest, as a child, the child has unconditional faith on his mother. He knows the mother will take care of him. Then gradually, as we grow up, we have our own sets of desires, we have our own sets of expectations. Then we compare whether our expectations have been met, or their desires have been met or not. And then we compare our faith in relation to our desires and our expectations. So as we then, initially when we come, the Guru understands this. He knows, until he gives some carrot, the children will not run behind me. So as a beginner, the Guru is very, very careful when he plants a seed, to make sure the seed grows properly, gives it water on time, pampers the child, pampers in such a manner that the child feels he's always there, the father is always, the mother is always there for him. Then as the seed slides, starts sprouting and it grows to a small sapling, he ensures it is protected from all sides, fencing the tree properly, fencing the sapling properly, so that it can become more and more mature. And once the tree starts growing, and once it starts blossoming, then he says, now you know what you need to do, so that your fruits are enjoyed not only by you, but by the entire community. So that is how the Guru takes care, right from the initial seed stage to a full blown tree.
Beautiful. Amazing. I'm trying hard to recall the questions now, because it's amazing. It's like a meditation in itself, Ganeshji. Amazing. Beautiful. My next question is, see, nowadays people say, above all, one should have faith in oneself. For a spiritual seeker, what is more important? Faith in oneself or faith in the Guru?
See, Advaitji, I think somewhere, we have been conditioned, as a child, right from when we are at school, you have to do this, you have to achieve, you have to be number one. And, so there is so much expectation set that, as, it comes in our psyche that, we are supposed to know everything. And, we have to be self-dependent, and, we have to be able to, position to achieve everything. But I think somewhere, we have forgotten that, we are living in a world of dependency. Everything cannot be done by us. If we want to do some surgery, we go to a doctor who's a specialist. If we don't know how to drive a car, we have a, a person who can drive the car well. So similarly, when it comes in case of spirituality, we absolutely, know nothing. At least I can speak about myself. I know nothing about spirituality, what it is, what is the process, what are we trying to do, where have we come from, what are we trying, Where are we trying to go? We know absolutely zero. Then, when we are setting up on this path of exploration where we are trying to perceive something which is beyond the five senses, then we need to go and to a person who has experienced this, who knows how it has to be done, and who knows for you what is the right way to go ahead with it. So then, when this is the case, you have to first put absolute faith in the Guru, that what he will tell me is the best for me. And when the Guru tells us that you have to do this, then you have to also know that you are not dependent on the Guru. When the Guru is telling you to do something, he's also equipped you with necessary tools to get the job done. He will never leave a child helpless and defenseless. So he has given you the necessary energy, the necessary tools, and all the necessary processes to get the task done. So when the Guru is there, you can have faith on the Guru, and after that you can be rest assured whatever you do to your best potential. What you are not able to do, he will do it for you.
You bring a very important point, Ganeshji. So the question is, to what extent is the surrender required in the initial stage? Because when you are starting, you are getting to know the Guru, the philosophy that he expounds, the spiritual practices that he is prescribing. What is the level of surrender required in the initial stages of the spiritual pursuit, according to you?
Uh, s- See, in my view, whatever I have experienced, with Guruji, and what I have realized, from so many people, who have been there with Guruji, when he takes any person for, healing, or, when he takes any person for, further initiation, he doesn't expect anybody to, surrender to him, or, even have faith in him. But he creates a necessary platform, for you, wherein you are in a position to do necessary activities that you need to do. So he does this through me. So whenever he heals us, he basically, in terms of your subconsciousness, which carries a lot of imprints of your past karmic actions, and which spill over in the present life, he locks away that subconsciousness first, so that they do not interfere in what you are trying to do in this life. So your conscious mind is a clean slate. So whatever activities that you want to do in this life, they are you are able to do that without carrying these imprints of the past. Secondly, when this conscious mind is clean and pure in a certain way, he is also able to channelize his energy into your system. So it is our duty, once a healing is done, or when he initiates us, to keep the consciousness clean always, so that again it is not overwritten and the slate is clean. So how do we do this? The only way we can do this is by surrendering, or by keeping on remembering the Guru. Because when we when we remember the Guru, we are automatically connected to his energy, and whatever actions we then perform is an action not for us, it's an action for the Guru. So by surrendering, we are first unburdening all our troubles and leaving it at the feet of the Guru. Second, whatever actions we are doing, we are offering it in the name of the Guru. And third, whatever results are coming out of those actions, we are in a position to accept it as a Guru's blessing and as a Guru's prasad. So in terms of how we are able to initially do it, yes, it takes time, it doesn't develop overnight, and the Guru understands this. But it is something, once as a process we are with the Guru over time, it's something that we slowly imbibe, we slowly inculcate. And there is no other example than the Guru himself. He has reached so many millions of people, possibly across the world, but he never says, I have done this. He says it's the nature which is doing all this.
So it seems everything that we say karta karvita, right? It's all the Guru. right? The seeker or the individual is probably just kind of a puppet, for lack of better word. So where is the scope of self effort there, or is there any is there any self effort even required if
So,
everything is being done by a guru?
so, so to be very honest, on the spiritual part, 90% of the job is done by the Guruji. So he's taking us on this journey. He is arranging for everything, right from your tickets to the train or the aircraft to whatever provisions are required, for in between the journey to ensure that, the destination is reached on time. So 90% of the job is basically done by the Guru himself. To an extent, we have already, you know, done a certain kind of effort to reach here at this point where, we are privileged to have a guru. If you see, even there are so many people who have come to healing for Guruji. It might be such a huge number of people, but how many people are here as, disciples of Guruji? So to an extent, we have possibly done a lot of hard work, possibly in our previous janmas, that, we are over here, and possibly for a lot of us, this is possibly the final lap or the final leg that, we need to cover. Now, in terms of whether further self effort is required, yes, it's not that, it is only the guru who has to do his job. We also have to do that 10% that is which is required of us. The more we do it, the lesser Guruji's workload. So we also have to put in equal efforts, and, we should also have that intense desire in us to get to that ultimate point rather than being dragged by Guruji alone. When we have that own fire burning in us that we want to get over there, the Guruji also will be so happy that, his child also wants to come running into his arms rather than him dragging the child all around.
Beautiful. Amazing. That makes me wonder, Ganeshji. So we are all blessed to have Guruji amidst us. As you said, really, we must have done some great meritorious work in our earlier lives or early part of this life. How about those people though who are yet to get blessed with a guru and who are searching for a guru?
See, Advaitji, any person I feel, in my limited opinion, any person who wants to be on the spiritual path, the ultimately there is only one guru. To be very honest, Advaitji, there is just one guru. He manifests in different forms and goes in front of the disciples in different forms as per his stage of evolution. So a person who is just trying to understand, what is the spiritual path, he will appear in the form of a different guru. Somebody who is much more, has done some of the basics and slowly is graduating, he will appear in form of a different guru. So ultimately there is just, one guru who is taking care of the entire of his entire, children. And ultimately we have all, emerged from that one universal being, and slowly possibly, we have come here to experience different aspects for his entertainment. So there is a guru for each and every individual, who wants and who's serious about trying to explore something which is beyond what is currently available. So the guru is one who appears in front of the disciple as and when he is ready and as per his stage of evolution. The disciple doesn't have to do an effort, only his intense desire should be there that I need somebody to guide me on this path.
Which basically means whether you are blessed with a physical guru in a life or not, there is somebody who is taking or looking after you, or there is a purpose behind everything. It cannot be
Definitely.
a random birth that an individual has had. Even the sense of seekingness is also maybe one of the gift of having or with the guru tattva or the guru element. That could be it. Coming back, so on this area of faith and surrender, Ganeshji, wonderful inputs. Can you narrate some few examples from your own spiritual journey where you got to test this, which has refined your perspective about faith and surrender, where and has helped you?
Yes, Advaitji. I mean, I remember, when I first came here, I remember, I know how rebellious I was, with Guruji, and how much trouble possibly I have given to him when I look back in hindsight. And when I look back now, I feel, how childish I was. But you know, the Guruji, he never, he only smiled and he understood and he accepted me as I was. And he had shown tremendous patience. Many times I used to argue argue with Guruji, no, 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 this is not correct, this is not correct. But he never said, no, Ganesh, what you are saying is not correct. He said, okay, let's see what happens. And he has been so extremely patient. And what is spirituality and what is a spiritual experience, you know is something which, let me say, I have not earned it. And still the Guruji said, I want you to have a taste of this, so that you understand, what is it that you are trying to do, and what is it trying to achieve. So if he had not given me a taste of the experience of spirituality, I would have not yet been here, possibly. Possibly. So he had been benevolent enough, at an early stage, to give me an experience where I realize that, what I'm seeing outside as a guru is not outside. It is just a reflection of what is there inside me. So if possibly the guru had not given me this experience much, much more before, you know, unfortunately, I'm not that kind of person, to be so dedicated and, so hardworking, that, or, possibly to, persevere on this path. So I am really grateful and obliged to Guruji that, he has kept hold of me rather than I being dedicated to him.
Ganeshi, I'm at loss of words. There's so much that you said in the few minutes that we've connected on this interview. I am very confident when it comes to this topic of faith and surrender and much more that you basically touched upon. Uh, the people will find, whether they are KMGNs or curious seekers who will come to this channel, will find a lot to take from what you narrated. Uh, so thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Uh, Thank you is probably a very shallow word of what I have experienced. I'm experiencing continuous goosebumps throughout this interview. I think amazing energy. Thank you so much for spending your time and sharing so many important insights that will be of use to all. Thank you so much, Ganeshi. Anything else you want to uh, share or narrate before we conclude this interview?
No, thank you, Advaitji. I think, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the opportunity, Guruji, for, being able to share a few things which I hope, will possibly his own message, which is spreading to everybody. We are just the instruments and we are just the medium for his message to spread. So thank you, Advaitji, and thanks to, not only Guruji, but, Guruma and the entire family, because, as I said earlier, we are having a comfortable and life because they have sacrificed their life. They have surrendered, and, to, I would say, they have surrendered to us, that we are able to enjoy our life and, live our life in peace and happiness. And, they have sacrificed so much of their family life for all of us. So while we all, surrender to the Guru, we also have to surrender to this lovely family of Guruji, that, who have adopted us as their own family and as their own children. So humble gratitude to all, and humble gratitude to all the KMGNs, who show so much of love amongst each other. And, when often, sometimes Guruji is not available, the KMG members are there for each other. So thanks to everybody for this.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ganeshji. Thank you once again. Thanks a lot. Om Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Shanti, Advaitji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Om Shanti.